Hey guys, we are jumping straight in today and we're going to get started right from the top. So I'm Angie and this is my YouTube channel. Clearly you're here and I'm so excited to have you. And I have been in online direct sales, network marketing, fashion retailer now for almost 2 years and I love it. And it's not something I ever saw myself doing and it's totally not the career path I saw myself on, but now I'm here and I adore it. So my goal in this channel and kind of just everything I do in coaching and helping other network marketers is realizing that there's a better way to do things. And so that's kind of what we talk about here. And this topic today is specifically for those people looking to join a direct sales clothing company. So when I joined my first company, it was the only one that really existed. I think there were a few that existed, but I mean, clearly the one I joined LuLaRoe, and clearly it was like the top, right? Like the only one that mattered really when I joined. And I joined and it was fabulous. And I joined and I was really successful. I had no idea what I was doing and it taught me how to learn. It taught me really quickly how to be a retailer and a merchandiser, and it was incredible. And so I was with them for over about 18 months, and then I switched to a new company. And so I kind of know a little bit about, the different, and I researched. So this is what I do. I love researching direct sales and network marketing and just kind of how different companies do things. I think especially because the company that I joined was so new, when I joined, I didn't know anything about any of it. And so now that there's other companies popping up, I think I've researched and learned a lot more about what's different about each of them and what you should look for. We're going to talk about that in another video about kind of what you should look for in a company. So now today we're going to talk about the 5 things you should ask before even joining. And I think these are really, really important. If you have been following the direct sales clothing world, you'll know LuLaRoe was clearly like the biggest. It blew up so fast. It became $1 billion company within a year. I mean, it was just insane. The money girls were making was just crazy off the charts. And we saw people getting into network marketing like myself that said they would never, ever in a million years do it. So there's something to that. So I don't think we can discount that experience. And so today but there's things I've learned in the process that makes the clothing direct sales niche different than any other direct sales. And so these are the questions or the things that I think you should ask that I've seen over and over and over again between coaching my team and just kind of seeing online what people should ask before they join that clothing sales company. Because at the end of the day, they're all very similar. So the number one thing I wish more people talked about and asked before joining specifically a clothing inventory based, which means you carry your inventory. We don't have a catalog. Before joining a company like that, the number one question you should ask yourself is, do you want a part-time job? Because it is. It is a part-time job. Direct sales and network marketing is a very, very neat model. Many people, full-time income with other non-inventory based companies, but it's a very, very small percentage. And compared to the whole, a lot of people make very hobby income, and that's totally fine. You can it's the cool part about direct sales and network marketing is you can make it what you want. Now, with clothing and this model of carrying inventory, my room is still being done over right now because I'm switching companies, but so it looks a little empty and crazy right now. But when this room is full, it is full of clothes. We actually have a second room too, because I carry my inventory. The more I have, the more I sell. And so that is very, very unique to the clothing niche of the direct sales world. So when you get started, when you're thinking about, this seems so cool. I love fashion. I love helping people feel good about themselves. I really want to be a retailer for one of these companies. Now there's, a ton. The number one question you should ask is, do you want a part-time job? Because most of them are. All of them are, in my experience. If you actually want to make not a full-time income, but an income doing it, because the money is there. How many billions of people are there in the world? They all need clothes. And it's really genius that through the network marketing model, you can sell your clothes to the people through your network. And so there's a lot of money on the table is what I'm saying, but it is a job. you have to work for it. You don't just point people to a website or, we'll talk about that another day, because there are certain companies that you can do that, which is really, really cool. And that's part of the reason of why I switched. But for the most part, it's a part-time job. So ask yourself before you even start, do you want a part-time job? There's your answer. If you don't, look at another direct sales company. If you do, this is a great one to make there's a potential to make a good amount of money working your business, but it takes work. So ask yourself first, do you want a part-time job? The second thing I would ask is, how long has this company been around? When I was switching, like I said, my first direct sales company, LuLaRoe, when I went with them, they were pretty much all that existed. There were a few smaller ones, nothing like LuLaRoe. They were the first in many, many ways of what they were doing. And so when I joined, I didn't even know to look at other companies because they didn't really exist. There was nothing to compare LuLaRoe to. Now there's lots of clothing companies. So you can look at and ask yourself, okay, what do I want in a company? We'll talk about this in another question, but like kind of what are you looking for? The biggest thing for me is longevity. A lot of these clothing companies are a large buy-in, which basically means you have to have a lot of money up front because you're purchasing inventory. Like I said before, it's inventory based. We carry our inventory. And so that is product. So whereas like if you're selling another product, you just buy a kit, and it's very affordable because you can order through a catalog or a website. You don't have to carry inventory. With clothing, a lot of times you do. And so with that kind of buy-in, you want to make sure that company knows what they're doing. So because of the success of my first company, LuLaRoe, a lot of copycats are coming in and trying to replicate. Do we know how long they're going to be around? We don't. So when you're looking at other companies, I strongly suggest looking at longevity. How long have they been around? Look at the business. Do they know what they're doing? Does anything raise a red flag for you? I looked at about 4 different clothing companies when I was looking to switch, and I went with the one with the longest track record. That was really important to me because I had been through a lot with LuLaRoe. They were new. They were the first. They had gone through many, many growing pains, and I know that whatever company I joined next was going to go through very similar growing pains. So I kind of wanted to find a company that was still close to the longevity of LuLaRoe. It had been in business about the length of time, which is why I chose ultimately Agnes and Dora. The other companies were far newer, far less experienced, and I just didn't feel comfortable giving that kind of money to a company that I wasn't sure about yet. So that's ultimately why I chose Agnes and Dora, like I said. Then the third thing you want to ask is, do you want to pick your prints, pick your styles, curate your own boutique, that kind of thing? Because with LuLaRoe, you'll know that maybe you don't, but the difference is with LuLaRoe is you don't get to do that. And I've talked before about how that's actually genius. And LuLaRoe was fantastic for me to start off with because it taught me how to be a merchandiser. It taught me how to pick prints that I wouldn't normally pick, but a customer would. And so it opened me up to this whole other world of what other people are looking for that I might not necessarily like, which is being a merchandiser. So LuLaRoe is really good for somebody who's just starting out. That's not to say you can't do that with the other companies, but then it becomes all the more important that you pick a really good sponsor and upline that have an experience of what they're doing. So if that's important to you, if you want to be able to pick your prints and styles and things like that, look at some of the other companies that allow you to do that. That's why I ultimately switched to Agnes and Dora, was because I wanted to curate my own boutique. And they're all different on whether they let you pick your prints, what kind of prints they have. Like, look at those kinds of things. Look into their business model before you decide what you're going to join on. This is really important too. Number 4, we're on number 4. Decide what you want out of your business before you even find a sponsor. This is important because if you are somebody who, so in my experience, here's how I did it. I came in and I wanted to go to the top. I wanted to make this a career. It didn't start out that way. It started out with, I have no idea what I'm doing. This sounds fun. Let's do it. But quickly I realized the potential for income. I loved what I was doing. This became my career path. And so if that's you, find a sponsor with that similar mentality because they're going to be able to coach you. They're going to be like, this is my full-time job, is coaching a team of people to do what I do. And so if you have a sponsor that's not her full-time job, if she has another full-time job, she's not going to have as much time to help coach you. It's just the reality of what it is. Many, many sponsors are amazing and they work part-time, but they're just not as available. Now, similarly, if you're looking to do this very part-time and work it around it, another full-time job, work it into your lifestyle. I might not have as much experience with that. I did that for a time. I did it for 8 months. I worked 20 hours a day. I slept for 4 hours a night. And so I do have experience with that. So it's not to say that somebody can't have experiences in both, because I definitely do. But decide where you want your business to go and find somebody who fits that. Find somebody who you feel like can take you there. That's really, really important. Something I think people don't talk about nearly enough is true income. So people like to say, oh, I sold $20,000 this month. Well, that sounds fabulous. But what I want to know, and what I encourage you to ask, how much did you buy in inventory? Because if you bought $15,000 in inventory to get that $20,000 in sales, do the math. They did not make $10,000 that month, because most direct sales companies have about a 50% profit margin. And that's a very, very important thing to know, is exactly what their sales are. That number gets fudged quite a bit, and it shouldn't. So when you're looking at a sponsor, don't just say how much do you sell, how much do you make, those are important questions, but also ask that follow-up question of what was your true profit. So once you figured out taxes, supplies, inventory, because you had to purchase inventory to sell inventory, then what was your profit? And that'll give you a more realistic view of the business at hand and your potential before you go investing all of your hard-earned money into this business and all your hopes and your dreams of what this business can be. You better find somebody who can be really straight with you about exactly how much income they are making. And if they won't, and that's their right, not everybody likes to tell their income statements. And you also want to keep in mind that their income isn't your income. So in direct sales, we're oftentimes not allowed to give income statements like, oh, I made this much, and post it on social media and all those things. A lot of times people can be a lot more honest in private message or over the phone or things like that. But a lot of times they can't post that. And that's to protect everybody, because it's called an income claim. If I'm claiming I'm making $20,000 a month and you should come sign up with me, and you don't make that, that's bad news. So, but if you're going to go with somebody who's going to be your sponsor, you want them to be honest with you. And so I think that's really, really important to look for when you're figuring out if you even want to do this. And finally, figure out, how do you want to sell? Because every company I looked at had different parameters around how you could sell. And by how you can sell, I mean a website, YouTube, Instagram, in a store, in a mall, online, how you can sell online. All of those things are important, because some things take more time, some things take less time. How do you want to sell your product? And then look at how all these companies figure out which one has more of the things that you want to do. Now with LuLaRoe, I noticed when I was switching, a big thing for me was I needed to streamline. I needed to streamline the process of me selling. I needed a website. LuLaRoe, you cannot have a website. I needed a website for many reasons, mostly being, that's an untapped market. When you start learning about things like search engine optimization, it's called SEO, and things like that, a website or a blog is crucial to that. And so I needed a website. Not only that, but it would create an easier platform for me to sell. I could have a website up. I could give that to anybody looking to shop. It was so easy. Versus join my Facebook group. I can only sell in this Facebook group. I only post my albums this day, that kind of thing. Like, I was looking to move away from that version of selling. And LuLaRoe is moving a lot towards live sales, which are fantastic. But I noticed a lot of people, to sell high volume, had to go live like 4 times a day. And I was like, that's not happening. Like, that's just not something that I want part of my toolbox. And so maybe once or twice a week, but like, I'm not going to go live 18 times a day. That's just not how I'm going to be doing things. And if you want to, if you love going live, you feel like it's like QVC showcase. If you love that, then awesome for you. Like, then you can sell a lot, apparently, because that's where things are moving. So if that's something that you want to do, then look into a company that does really, really well with live sales. Like, for example, Agnes and Dora, I don't see a lot of people doing live sales. So whether or not, you can see that 2 ways. That's an untapped market, or maybe it's just not really the live sale community, and that's fine too, because I don't want to do live sales all the time. I don't mind doing a few, but I don't want to do them every day, and let alone 12 times a day. I don't have the time for that. So look into all these different clothing companies and how can you sell, because that is important, and decide what you want, what your strategy is going to be. So those are my 5 things. I hope they help you out. I think joining a direct sales, network marketing, fashion company is really, really cool. I've loved my experience, and I'm super excited about seeing more companies pop up, and I'm excited to see how they all make each of us be better, and I'm really excited about it. But I do think there's some really, really important things to ask yourself before putting out all that money, because it is a lot, and it can be awesome and it can be really scary. So I think these questions are a great place for you to start when you're thinking about those companies. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day.